Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty, and this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also, it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look in the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And so I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. And welcome back to another edition, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Get ready for the episodes of episodes. We have returning to the show, Amanda Jane Gould is a trailblazer. If you don't know her, you should get out underneath the rock because she is Australian realist. She's been in the Australian real estate industry for nearly 30 years, leading the award-winning high-spec properties and managing a national team across Sydney, Byron Bay, the Gold Coast, South Australia, and WA. As Joint Deputy President of the REI New South Wales Board and a member of the Empowerment Collective, Amanda is known for her media appearances, including Dream Listing Byron Bay, and her dedication to helping navigate property with confidence. Today we're going to be talking about the Empowerment Collective. She's a proud member of the Empowerment Collective, a network of professionals dedicated to supporting women through the complexities of divorce. The collective brings together trusted experts, including family lawyers, financial planners, accountants, conveyancers, buyers agents, and more, to offer compassionate, practical guidance during this life transition. Through her role, Amanda provides property advice and advocacy, helping women move forward with clarity and confidence. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Nice to see you, James. Thank you. Just before we go on, I will just clarify one of those points. I have been buying property in Sydney for over 30 years, but I've been in the industry 14 years.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Love it. Thank you for the clarification. So today we're going to be talking about the Empowerment Collective. Talk
Yes.
to me how this idea came about.
So it's a really interesting time for a lot of women, Gen X women. And when I started looking at some statistics, two out of three divorces are actually applied for by women, and one in three are Gen X marriages.
Serious.
And I'm a Gen X and Gen Xer, born in 1970. So we're finding just a lot more women in our age group going through divorce and working out how to navigate that when you come out the other side. Now, I got divorced when I was 30, so a long time ago now, but I did come out of that thinking, like my husband, ex-husband, kept the financial planner, kept the accountant, kept the mortgage broker. I came out thinking, how am I going to buy a property? I don't know anybody. This is before I was, doing the role I'm doing now. And I thought, now I've got to find a mortgage broker, find an accountant, and I had to go through all of that process. And it was quite daunting. And I think just having a collective team of women, dedicated professional women, helping helping transition through divorce and guiding women and navigating the challenges of divorce. It's really just having like a one-stop shop for women going through divorce to know who to speak with, and having those experts giving that diverse range of support and understanding and
Yeah.
empathy.
That's a beautiful process, and it's such a beautiful support aspect because it is so true, right? Because a lot of the time women come out of these situations and go, well, what do we do? What are the next steps? And I think coming back to why do you think the reasons why around the divorce rates are where they are? Let's unpack that for a second. What's your research and what's your intake around that?
Well, from personal experience, I think a lot of Gen X women got married quite early. So they got married mostly in their 20s.
Yeah.
And it's really come the full cycle. I've married again, but a lot of Gen X women are still with the partners they were with from either school or from their 20s. And they've had children go right through their span. They're already in university and they think, okay, now it's time to focus on me. And obviously every single, person is different and what they're going through is different. But that tends to be what the cycle is for Gen X women. I just ended up getting divorced a little bit earlier than some of my peers, but a lot of people now are going through that transition. They're empty nesters now, and they're realizing that life has changed for whatever reason, and they're looking at new changes in their 50s or their 40s and their 50s, and it's quite surprising. We've helped a number of women through the transition of divorce, helping them from the financial planner through to the family law, through to myself helping them find a property, the accountant, the mortgage broker, having all of those professional women just stepping them through is really just it's great to have that support and understanding from a group of professional women.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it's so true, right? Because so often it's the wife or the mother looking after the kids, and it's so much energy involved with that, and then come through, and as you said, they become empty nesters. And it's like, well, who am I?
Mm.
Where's that purpose piece? Where's that? Well, what does that? Oh, hello, partner. It's a real change going through, and a lot of that time. How did you come to choosing the amazing women of that support network? What did that process and where did the idea come from, and how did you enroll these other amazing women for this support?
It's a good question. So this has been in my mind mulling over for a long time. And when it was just before the pandemic, actually, it was going to be a different name. And I looked at getting a few people together. I started chatting with the financial planner, Alison, about it. So we're probably the OGs. And then the pandemic happened. And then, everything sort of stopped and we thought we'll regroup, and everybody gets busy in their own careers. But I am dealing with a lot of divorced women, as is she. And we just said, look, we've really got to get this group up and running. So that was how that started. And then we just started looking at who are we working with all the time that are female professionals that we trust, we like, know, and trust, and that we know they do a great job. They also have empathy. They've also dealt with a lot of divorced women and helping step them through. And that's how we started branching out to different parts of different industries, but all supportive in the network of buying property, basically.
Beautiful. And what have you noticed around the feedback that you're getting? Uh, because everyone's got their own business as well, but come together, you're making this collective. What do you notice with some of the feedback from the other women in the collective around the help and support that they're providing to these women?
I think being able to navigate that by having a group call with everybody saying, look, we might not need a mortgage broker or we might not need an accountant at this stage, but we do need a financial plan. I mean, obviously, the first person is a family lawyer. Sometimes they come to us and they've got a family lawyer, sometimes they haven't. So it's taking parts of the steps and the professions. It might not be, we might not get somebody that needs the entire professional network. They might only need one or two aspects of that, but it's also being able to have a group call with everybody saying, look, we need you to do X, Y, Z, and knowing how we all work together to support the client going through the divorce, then that just means that is more of an easier flow. And if they only need an accountant, maybe in the fourth or the fifth step, then knowing where to refer it along the chain.
Beautiful. And
Mm.
so what's the thought process for those women who may not be even divorced or may not be in a relationship? Is there an opportunity for women who just wants to have, empower their own, future and their own success about leaning into these services as well?
Look, absolutely. It doesn't have to be just about women navigating divorce, but eventually we will do workshops. That's what I was originally going to set it up for back before the pandemic. And we wanted to empower women with, their financial freedom. So having a financial planner, knowing what that means, whether you're just coming into this as a first home buyer and you're buying property, in my opinion, as soon as you start buying property, you should have the right insurances in place. You should have a financial planner helping you navigate, because the way you purchase property, especially if you're wanting to build a portfolio, it needs to be navigated by a professional helping you to set up the right entity to be able to buy. So if you're buying investment properties, the first couple might be under your name to help with tax, minimize the tax, and that would be an accountant's job to advise that. Then they might say, well, your third or fourth property might be, in a family trust. Or I'm not a financial planner and not allowed to give advice, but they'll tell you the structure that's going to be the best outcome for you and what your long-term financial future is. Looking on the flip side, when women have actually already been right through buying property over a number of years and then going through divorce, what they need is something maybe a little bit different. They might need to buy more property in their superannuation if they have any. Or they might have got the house in the divorce and now they're just wanting an investment property. Every single client is different. We tailor every single service to each person's requirements, but it really doesn't matter in which stage you are. It's about having the right people in your corner to navigate the purchasing property in the right way, and having those building blocks set up, whether you're a first home buyer right through to somebody that's been through the property market and is getting divorced and restarting again.
Yeah, fantastic. And what are you noticing and what are you seeing? Because yes, you've got the strategies and the tactics around helping these women, but what are you noticing around the emotional and mental shift that these women make and go through, knowing that they've got a group of supportive, empowering women around them in their corner, as you say, helping to go through this process?
Look, we're finding a lot of people just leaning on us. They might not have made decisions independently by themselves for a very long time. Some of these women coming through divorce have been married for like 30 years, and they're so used to, rightly so, having a partner in the corner to be able to bounce ideas off and make decisions together. And it's just being able to empower them to make those decisions, but having professionals on their side to be able to ask questions. And if I don't know the answer, then I go to the financial planner, I go to the accountant, and then we come together and give that holistic approach for everybody. So I think it's making well informed decisions with the knowledge and the resources between the entire Empowerment Collective group. And this will actually grow. Like we will expand into life coaching and personal training and all the things that empower women when you go through a divorce to help you navigate, your new single life and get on the other side. But really, it's just about having that network that'll help you make the right decisions and being a guide and helping them make those decisions. It's very hard if you haven't bought a property by yourself for over 30 years. Am I making the right decision? Is this a good property for me? Well, we just have to look at how many boxes we can tick and tick as many as possible for the budget and the strategy that we have.
Beautiful. And so where is it going? You said other services down the track, but are you going to look at bring back some workshops? What's the next 12, 24 months look like?
So the next 12, 24 months, we're going to start getting the name out there more. We've really done a soft launch at this stage. This is the first podcast, so I'm being on. Thank you for having me and being able to discuss this, James. But yeah, we will, once we've got a little bit more of a name and we've been out there and we've done a little bit of advertising. So we're actually going to start as of next week. I think we're starting Facebook advertising. We'll have a Facebook page for people to join. We've started with the social media already, but we've started quite slowly. We will be building that. Once we've got a little bit more presence and a little bit more content, then we will start getting more media opportunities. Hopefully we'll get something on maybe on the morning show. And then from there, we'll start building and having the workshops and expanding the services that we also provide.
Fantastic. Now, is there any criteria that, besides obviously a woman going through a divorce, are there any criteria that women might need to think about before engaging in your services?
I think just understanding where they're at, we can have a confidential chat with them at the beginning. It might not be me straight away. It might be the financial planner or the family lawyer. So they're just initial chats. And then each of us will bring in the right professional to be able to help them in that process. So they might already have been through their divorce, and they might be like, have come through the other side and thought, where do we go from here? And that's when they can just have a chat with us. They can go on to empowermentcollective.com.au and they can click on each one of our names, and it will automatically go into our calendar and book an appointment to have a chat. And it's a confidential, free chat, just to understand where they're at and which, part of the process they're at, so we can actually step them through that.
Fantastic. Now, is there anything that we haven't covered so far in relation to the Empowerment Collective that it's important for the audience to know? Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90, so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days than ever before. What it does, it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show.
That's a good question. Just the experts are there to help them, and it's a diverse range of experts, right from, as I mentioned, the family lawyer, then you've got the financial planner, then you've got a mortgage broker, you've got an accountant, and you've got myself being the buyer's agent. So yeah, they're the range of services so far. As I said, we will be adding to those: life coach, personal trainer, personal stylist, lots of different things that we'll be adding along the way, which is exciting. And the workshops, when they start, will encompass everybody, which is exciting. We'll have special guest speakers, that sort of thing.
Awesome. So we'll put all the details in the show notes about the Empowerment Collective. So that's absolutely a beautiful service, and it's so needed. And I can't congratulate you and the team to really get this message out there. Now, a little bit of a sideline now. Focus the market. What's happening out there? What are you noticing in the market? I know that's the $1 million question that you probably get every single day. What are you noticing from your crystal ball?
Okay, so my crystal ball is, as we all know, the RBA did not reduce the interest rates last week, any basis points. But having had two this year already, I do think that there will be more to come. As soon as we start seeing that, we start seeing more interest. We've already seen the knock-on effect at auctions. So I was at an auction on Saturday in Newtown for a client. Now there was maybe 6 or 7 registered bidders. There was 4 buyers agents in that. I don't think I've ever seen that since the pandemic, like so many buyers agents at an auction all vying for this one property. It needed renovation, so it wasn't even a traditional like turnkey ready property that usually sell a lot easier. So that was interesting. I've seen the rise of the buyers agents out there for competition. We're still seeing a lot of properties being sold off market. So last year we purchased 50% of the properties that we purchased were off market. This year we're probably sitting at about 40%, although I did do a couple of deals on Friday, one being off market, so that might have increased. So that's something that's interesting. And we're finding the reason why is because, some sellers are really just wanting to either test the market or not pay for the, for marketing costs, not paying for styling, having people traipsing through their properties. I'm in the middle of doing a deal actually with somebody that's going through a divorce, and they don't want everybody knowing. So they don't want to have a big signboard out the front. So that's just more for privacy. So lots of different reasons. I would say that there is a lot more people at opens, especially in the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks. We went to an open at Erskineville on the weekend. There was at least 30 to 40 groups coming through.
Wow.
That was a queue out the door. So we're starting to see that a lot more. That's we've had a bit of a lull, and it's coming back into the, into that. Anything that is turnkey ready is selling well. So meaning renovated, good street, good school catchment. Anything unrenovated that needs a bit of work, people are always a little bit more hesitant on, because the prices of renovations have skyrocketed since the pandemic, and people are usually a little unsure. A lot more development sites available now. You may or may not be aware, but on the 28th of February, there was changes to what can be built on an R2 residential dwelling. So you used to be able to only put, potentially, depending on the size of the block, a duplex or a house. But now you can do a duplex, a townhouse, or a unit, depending if it is 400 or 800 meters from a town centre. So that is something to take into consideration when you're buying properties at the moment. So we're doing a lot more due diligence around that, because we don't want to buy somebody a fantastic new home and then suddenly a block of units that goes up and they've lost their light and maybe their privacy. So that's certainly changing a lot for people, because people want that walkability of being close to a train station or to a hub of shops and a village, but that's actually a detriment now, in a way, for homeowners that are wanting to live there for their home rather than, build, as a developer. So that's interesting. I would just say that there's a lot of change, and usually, traditionally, June, July can be a little quieter because it's the winter. But we haven't seen a drop at all. Only like last week we bought 3 properties. In June we bought 5 properties in a week. It's been really busy for us. So we haven't seen a drop in that yet. So we'll certainly see what happens. But my crystal ball would say it's going to stay like this until spring, because that's traditionally when more properties come on market. But the vendors have to remember that more properties on market usually means that the prices come down, not up, because there's more competition for their property.
I love that point when you said 40 to 50% you're buying off market. And that's why
Yeah.
people need to use you and your services, because you get these opportunities, you get in the door, and you can actually secure some great purchasing for your clients, which is amazing. Um, what about the array of clientele that is coming through the door? Is it owners? Is it the investor? What are you noticing as the different flavors at the moment?
So every single year is different. It's really good to know your numbers and to understand the mix. I would say at the moment where I would say, oh, I haven't looked at my numbers for this month yet, but we're usually set between 40 to 60%. So 40% owner occupier or 40% investor, usually toggles between the two. We're usually pretty even, unless there's changes to laws for investment properties, and then the investors drop out of the market, or if the interest rates are too high, we find that the investors drop out of the market. But usually it's 40 to 50% owner occupier versus investor. And we of
Yeah.
course deal with developers too. So we source development sites, we put together development sites by door knocking. So we have a lot of developers that work with us, from small duplex sites right through to big high res sites.
Fantastic. And what's coming up for you? What are you excited about over the remainder of the year?
I think just excited about, helping more clients, and whether they're first home buyers, upsizers, downsizers, developers. We're just really excited about the people that we've been able to help and navigate the property market and get them a great result. So that's the most exciting thing for us. I would say our team is going to grow soon. We've been smashing a lot of goals here with a smaller team, but that will start to change. And just excited about what's going to happen with the upcoming changes, and more developers coming into the market to do these small development sites within 400 or 800 meters to a town centre. It's exciting from a developer's point of view, because there's a lot more stock on the market for that.
Definitely, definitely. Now, we have a lot of real estate agents listening to the show.
Mm.
What would you recommend to them about working with you and buyers agents? Because a lot of agents get, the whole scarcity mentality. How can, because I see it a beautiful team, agents and buyers agents working together. what would you say to them around maybe opening up that dialogue?
Look, for me, a good buyer's agent and a good sales agent are the best match, like a good mortgage broker and a good buyer's agent are a good match, right? Because you're both helping clients in the end. So if they get a win and we get a win, it will happen. If one person feels like they're being taken advantage of and they're not getting a win or a run on the board, then it's likely not to go ahead the negotiation. So I think understanding that buyers agents are here to help their clients just as much as the vendors agents. And if they know that we're here to help move, if it's the right price and the right property for the client, to move the dial and move things along, then the deals can flow a lot smoother. I mean, there's some agents that I deal with time and time again that know that I've got clients in those areas, and they'll come to me sometimes exclusively to us and say, look, before we go out to the other buyers agents, do you have anybody for this? Especially when we're the only buyers agents in Alexandria, have a lot of agents come to us and say, do you have anybody looking for this before we go out to the network? So a good agent understands the value of a buyer's agent, that we have people that have already signed an agreement, paid an engagement fee. So they're engaged in the process. They're not time wasters. They can go out to the market. And yes, I understand agents want to go to market to build up their database, etc. But sometimes their clients just want a quick sale. And knowing that and knowing a good buyer's agent that has a qualified buyer ready to go, it's a win-win. Like it's a marriage made in heaven, in my opinion. And I think as long as you're transparent with each other as best you can be, and you are straight, like I'm a straight shooter, everybody knows that I'm a straight shooter when I negotiate. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Then if we can have that transparency and trust between each other, then it's a great result for both the seller and the buyer. And that's what you want. When it feels like it's weighed on one side over the other, it's not likely to go through.
Definitely. That's beautiful. It's so true. It is a great match. And I think the more, selling agents can open up that dialogue and connect with, like yourself, it just makes it so much easier and it becomes a win-win situation
Yeah,
for all. So that's fantastic.
absolutely. We love it.
Wonderful.
We love doing deals with agents. If we didn't have agents, there wouldn't be as many deals. So you just got to think of it like that. We're on opposing sides, but we're here for the right outcome and the same outcome.
Yeah, fantastic. Is there any advice for the listeners? It could be real estate agents, it could be women going through divorce. Is there any last pieces of advice that you'd like to share with the audience?
I think for women going through divorce, know exactly what you own, know exactly what you are entitled to, and having a professional on your side helping you through that. Having been through a divorce myself, I know it can get overwhelming and there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of parts of the divorce, parts of your life that you may not have been attuned to, like the finances. You need to understand that and know your numbers so you know how to progress, along those steps and know what you're entitled to. And I think having the professionals on your side helping you with that is super important. And with agents, I think don't be scared of buyers agents. We're here to get a deal done also if it's in the best interest of our clients. So, we'd love to work with you, and we're here to help people navigate not only through divorce and support them along the way, but buy property and buy the right properties, set themselves up for the future.
Fantastic. So empowermentcollective.com.au and high spec properties, what two areas where the audience need to head to?
That's right. And Instagram, highspec.properties and Empowerment Collective.
Fantastic. Amanda, really appreciate your time, energy, and your expertise and what you're doing for the women out there and also for the industry in a whole. So really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, James. Nice to see you.